Hello, this is Robert of Deadartstudios, and this is Painting with Deadartstudios, and welcome back. And we're carrying on with our volcano painting that's been ever evolving and been featured in the last couple of videos. The initial work where I came up with the idea and did a painting on canvas, a sort of study, and then moving on to this birch board panel. And originally it started off as kind of expressionistic but realistic attempt at a volcano and eruption. And since then, things have changed quite a bit, and it's evolved onwards, and it's gone a bit abstract, at least on the eruption at the top. And in the last video, I put blue modelling medium over the top of some of the abstract work I've been doing, which had colours like greens and pinks and browns underneath. And then after that, the modelling medium kind of cracked when it was drying, and it says you have to dry it really slowly by covering it in like a cling film or something, which I didn't do, but I'm still sceptical with the thickness that I wanted to use as to whether that would have solved the problem. Anyway, it cracked up a bit. I kind of like the texture in some of that, but then I was also interested to see if I could reveal some of the colours underneath. So I thought I'd put it on my table saw and just have a play around with creating some texture in that. And it's worked in places, but it also looks kind of like I've just attacked it with a saw, which is basically what I did. And in this video, we're just moving on with that and adding some colour in a bid to make it a pretty painting, something that's interesting and a bit different. And we're putting, at the moment, some quinacridone magenta with a gloss medium onto the blue in the middle, with a sort of idea of having a central point of strong colour, and then around the edges something a bit more softer and maybe slightly more detailed. That was the idea, and in this bit now I'm just adding some gloss medium to some ultramarine, I think ultramarine blue, it may be primary cyan. Looks like primary cyan, and I'm just going to put that on with the palette knife. I'm having my cup of cocoa again, so I'm recording the audio over this. And I did initially try doing audio as I was painting, but I personally think it just totally took away from the painting. You could do that style of video, but it just wasn't working out for me, and I wanted to paint when I painted, so I do the commentary over the top, and it's just a way to relax and chat as you watch me paint. And yes, I'm using a brush here just to try and rub some of the blue, which is darker than that blue that's in the modelling medium, into the cracks to create a sort of deeper colour in the cracks. And I'm just pushing it in and brushing it over, and then trying to thin it off really on the top as I go. And so I hope everyone's been having a good week. I've managed to hit my target again of making a video long form and bringing it out every week. And so I hope you've all had a good week. Mine's been hard to remember, fast paced, but fine, I think. And I've been working on my paintings, and I've been doing all the ordinary stuff that everyone already has to do in their lives, and it's been fine. And spring is on the way, and I've been noticing some of the flowers starting to come out in the garden, so that's been nice and inspiring in some ways for the year ahead. I've planted some tomato seeds with my little 4-year-old daughter, and they've already sprouted, so those kind of things at this time of year is super exciting for me. And it's really the first months of spring and early summer that I enjoy the most, I think, here in the UK. So I hope that wherever you are, you can find some kind of pleasure like that in the surroundings around you. And so here I'm just putting some blue on with the palette knife up in the top left, and I mean, this painting, what to say about it? I mean, it's a reflection of me, isn't it, really? I mean, It's definitely not a normal piece of art, I don't think. But I think that's what I'm doing when I am painting. I am striving for art of some kind, and I could paint a dog or a cat or a flower, but I think I'm doing something else, and that's what this is. And you may think I'm slightly mad, which I may well be, especially when the table saw gets involved with the painting, but I think it did actually improve it it made it more interesting. I mean, at the moment there on the video, it is kind of messy, but by the time we get to the end, and I carried on painting after this because I went for a long session on this, and I can't really bring you along for all of it at normal speed. I could time lapse it fast, but then in some ways that changes the viewing of it and watching what I'm actually doing. And I did want to just do some real-time painting videos, so I didn't record the whole thing, and by the end of this it was getting quite nice and detailed, and I'll be making the next video on this piece as well, so you'll see the progress I've made. And I've took it back out after this and put it a little bit more on the table, so I'll just create a few more texture lines. And actually it's quite an interesting way of creating texture. The main thing is you have to try not to cut your hand off, and I've succeeded in that so far. Never say never though. I don't want to be getting complacent with a table saw, especially when you're not doing things like straight cuts and you're holding a painting on it at a funny angle and sort of looking at it sideways and recording it for TikTok. Then, I do wonder if that's one day going to lead to an accident, but so far so good. I'm just trying to get some nice shine to the blue there. And I think it still does kind of represent an eruption, and I still am insistent on going back and painting that mountain in, so that will remain, and so the original thrust of the painting will be there. But with this kind of abstracted, would I say cubist? I don't know, it's hard to say, isn't it? It's just me messing around at the end of the day, experimenting, but there's sort of a deconstruction to it with angles which, might head in that direction, I suppose. And I just started using my fingers in this as well and pushing it into the grooves, and it was working quite nicely. I'm looking forward to doing my next session on this. Apart from this, I've been doing small one-session sit-down paintings, so just time-lapsing them and recording them for TikTok and YouTube Shorts, which you may or may not have seen. And I have enjoyed doing all those, but I feel like I'm going to take a little rest sitting down doing a different painting every night. It's a different game. You have to think of a different topic or emote in a different way and try, whereas just carrying on with something, it's like reading a book, isn't it? And you just get to sit down and pick up where you left off. I suppose it's a bit like either reading small, short newspaper articles for the one-night single pieces or a nice long novel. And so this is a novel. I would like to get it finished pretty soon and get on with some other stuff, so I've got like loads of ideas, but I don't want to just start them all at once, because then I'm just going to have paintings everywhere and not finish any of them. And I did go back to an oil painting one night when I wasn't really, because I thought it would be quicker just to get my oils out and just do a bit of work on a painting that I've been doing for a long time. And I ended up deciding that it wasn't what I wanted and just totally scratching it back to the start and removing it all, and kind of left me feeling down in the first instance, because I didn't really, I thought, well, no one's ever going to hang this, so why am I doing it? And in some ways that's a bad thing to think, but I don't know, there's a certain practicality about it that's required, I think. And I thought, well, no one's ever going to hang this, so why am I spending my time doing it? I mean, at the very best, it just lay in my attic for the next however many years until it's cleared out by somebody, then probably throw it in the bin. So I thought I'll scratch it back, save the frame, because it was an OSB board with a frame that I handmade and put quite a lot of time into, and the frame's covered with tape and stuff. So I thought, I'll save the frame, remove the painting. But then when I removed it, I kind of regretted it in some ways, because it was a bit like giving up. But anyway, I don't think it was. I think it was probably overall the right decision. And there'll be a new opportunity there as well, so that's a good thing, to start something different. And I can apply some of the more recent techniques and things that I've been learning to redo the painting. And yeah, I'm just mixing up a bit more here, a bit of yellow. Getting through my acrylics quite fast now. I just brought not a full set, but a range of acrylics, artist grade acrylics, to start my acrylic journey, and enough to make a lot of different colours. I've discovered that I don't particularly like mixing colours. I think there's an argument. People say, oh, just mix your colours. I think there is an argument just for buying a lot of colours. It certainly does save time. And, if you want a tiny bit of a colour, like, oh, I just need a little whisker of brown down the side here, and it's not the brown, you haven't really got a proper brown that you want, and you need to mix it, then you end up with tons of the stuff. You take 3 different colours, and to mix it, you have to have a significant amount to mix. And yeah, fine if you're doing a big piece and you're keeping your paint wet and stuff, but even then there's instances where you're only going to use a tiny amount of paint. So with super fast drying acrylics, I think there's an argument for just getting loads of colours, but apart from cost, which obviously is a factor. So yeah, but I'm quite a good way through a lot of these paints now, and so I'll probably need to get some more, and they're not cheap, so it'd be good to get some paints finished to feel like I've got something out of it at the end. And obviously I am going to try and sell some of these, and like the little one night pieces I'm going to try and sell for pretty cheap, like £15-20, and I just hope that somebody just like, oh, that'd be a nice little thing for the corner or something. And maybe they won't, but then not all is lost with that. It'll gives me some stock to put in a shop. Part of what I want to do is create a shop online and have a shop, and so I've got some stuff to put in it, and it doesn't matter if it's not all masterpieces, I suppose. I just want the shop to be present, and then I can start evolving from there. If you don't start, then you're never gonna get anywhere, I don't think. So I kind of fake it till you make it approach. It's not really faking it, because I have the paintings, but maybe they're just not what I imagined them to be, or whatever. Just little sketches, really. And so they're there. I'm working on that in the background, and kind of buying mounting board and things like that, and frame mounts, and then figuring out what to package them in if I sell them, and etc. On to what degree to invest in that, when you may not actually sell any. So do you really need 20 massive envelopes sitting around, or do you just wait until you sell one and just nip out and buy an envelope as or when? So things like that as well on the side of the painting that I'm doing. So on this painting here, I got a little table mark saw down in the yellow on the bottom left there, and it kind of adds something, but I kind of wish that it wasn't there as well, because I really like that block of yellow. So I'm kind of just painting some more yellow on there, I think, to try and fill in the wood a bit, but I am wondering whether, I don't know actually, it's got a certain charm to it. It's not too bad, I don't think. And yeah, as I was saying before, I do want to get the mountain in realistically. Well, it's not really realistic, but an expressionistic / impressionistic attempt at a mountain. And then with the abstract eruption on the top, which I think is kind of a nice idea, like all this stuff coming out. It means something in some way, and actually the blue started to take on a bit of a globe ocean, like, you know, when you look at a globe and you've got the blue of a globe, and then the countries all on it. Did start to get that kind of look going off, and at the end I'm sort of putting some bit more depth into the colour and on that, and I did actually not dislike it, which is good. So, in terms of my channel and everything, I do okay on the shorts, and a couple have had like 2,500 views, which is reassuring that my short videos are not terrible, and some people like to watch them. And I know that's not a lot of views for shorts, but it makes me happy that people are seeing stuff, and the vast majority of the feedback is positive. And then the long form videos have been going alright, but the views are low on that, as to be expected, I think. Starting out, and it's like super hard, I think, to start a art / painting channel and get views straight away, because there's a lot of cool art stuff out there to watch, and maybe, you know, my format is pretty earthy, shall we say, just basic, just here's me painting and chatting, so, you know, there's not a lot of hype going on with the channel or anything like that, and, you know, there's no great storyline or anything like that, other than this is me doing me. And if you like it and you're watching, there's a couple of people are. Hi to you guys. Hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Hope it's providing some kind of value. And I am going to carry on. The plan is to go for a solid year, doing one video a week, and see where we are, and hopefully, you know, carry on from there. Here I'm putting in some orange to sort of blend against, but with the magenta, you know, some hot colours in the middle, almost like, I mean, I suppose the idea is it's kind of like a wound, isn't it, from the table, sort of like it's been cut into, and you've got this colourful but intense wound in the middle, and then the cooler background blues, and then, yeah, and the interplay between them. And so I'm just pressing that in. I'm using, for anyone who's interested, the paints I'm using are golden acrylics from the company Golden. And the reason I picked those was just because, I mean, partly just because they look pretty cool, don't they? The packaging and everything's interesting about it. So a lot of people use them and seem to like them. So I thought I'd try those, and I can get hold of them easily in my area. So that's why I went for those. And the medium I use is Liquitex Professional. That's gloss medium for acrylic paints. I like the stuff, it's good. It's nice to paint with. I'm in two minds with gloss versus matte, because, you know, gloss, when you put stuff on your wall, gloss can be kind of bad when light's reflecting off it and stuff, but then on the other hand, I do like the look of it as well. I'm going to try some things in matte as well, because the paint itself has a bit of a gloss element to it, so. And there I am, just trying to like put the yellow into the yellow,
of the background, and I think that is gonna stay just yellow. I don't think I want to start, in terms of composition, messing with those areas. I do get a bit on the mountain there as I'm sort of trying to get right up slammed to the edge of the mountain, but I'm going to redo just another layer on the mountain, so you won't see that. The mountain's going to be a bit more impasto and a bit more, just a little bit more detail on it than there is. Not much, just to get the horizon line, I suppose, the top of the mountain, the peaking nice, and then just follow it down into the foreground and correct any bits that I think look a little bit off. And then we'll be there. And this painting, really, when I started this painting, I sent a message to my friend with a picture of it, and it had the mountain itself with the snow on it, and it had the beginnings of what looked like a volcanic eruption, and it kind of looked cool. And I said, whatever I do, I must not mess around with this painting. And that's not what happened. And never seems to be what happens, but there you go. So we are where we are. It's gone abstract, it's gone crazy, but I don't hate it, and that in itself is reason enough to continue. I'm just putting some yellow into some more of the table saw gouges. It does create a nice grain to it when you sort of rub it against the table saw. And if I can sort of master getting it at the right angles and stuff, then there's more to be done with that, I think, just for texture. So that's something to think about. But I gotta get what I've got going finished. I've got 2 oils finished, but one needs a frame making, which I've made from hand, and the other one's got a frame that just needs one last quick coat of black spray paint on it and some lacquer, and then the painting itself needs to be attached to the frame, and it needs a hanger on the back. So even just little things like that, when you've got a busy day, take an hour or 2 of your time and just fitting that in when you're trying to paint as well. It's all pretty difficult to do, and the yellow there mixed in with some of the blue and made it quite a nice green colour, the zesty lime green colour, which I did quite like. And sort of did that a little bit more on the other side as well as we went on and got something like green in there. Anyway, we're coming towards the end of the video now, so thanks for stopping by. If you did, please do feel free to comment and all that jazz. And we'll definitely reply back. And I'll be back next week with another video on this painting. We'll see what progress we've made. Wishing you all well. Take care. And I'll see you soon. Bye.